All right. Okay, let's roll. Okay, what the hell am I going to... Oh, I had something. That's a working man blues, right?
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Country in A. But it's too early in the morning. Something like working man blues, a little bit.
Welcome to the Guitar Channel. I am super happy to welcome you a new interview. I am with the one and only Al Bonhomme. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce your last name in French or English.
Yeah, Bonhomme is good.
Yeah. How are you doing today in Paris?
I love Paris. It's great. My first time here, and I'm having a great time. Okay. Very nice.
So vacation time for you in Paris?
Vacation time.
Okay.
It's, like I say, it's 49% food, 49% wine, and 2% work.
Okay. That's cool. Al, you have to tell me, what was your very first guitar?
My very first guitar was, well, my brother had one from the catalog from Sears.
Oh, yeah?
It was way back in the 60s. It was like a square triangle. The first one I bought was a Kent. Like, it looked like a 335. Okay. And I still have it. My brother just sent it to LA a couple of years ago. He had it at his house. So now I have it, a Kent. Okay. Looks like a 335.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you are Canadian, right? From around in the Toronto area?
Yeah, I grew up north of Toronto in a town called Sudbury. Okay. Very cold in the winter. It's a mining town. And believe it or not, there are amazing guitar players from Sudbury. Okay. Yeah. If you're looking at a guy, our jazz player in Toronto named Reg Swagger, he's like the best jazz guy in Canada now. And there's another guy, Paul Chapman. He's a great country guitar player up there. He's fantastic, you know. And in my town, a bunch of guys that just stayed in the town. Man, they're great guitar players up there.
So there is something in the water or what? Or?
Well, we say something in the smokestack because there's a big chimney from the mine.
Okay, so you don't live that long, but you play guitar great.
That's right. You got to play fast, right? Okay. So you get all your licks in.
If you have to summarize in a couple of sentences your career so far, what would it be the main turning points, you know?
The main, you know, I played a lot when I was younger in our town. There was a lot of bars. So that's how we all started there, playing bars. And I moved to LA around 1979 to go to GIT with, you know, Howard Roberts. And I saw that and I went, whoa.
So as a student, you went there?
Yeah, as a student in 1979. And that was, of course, the biggest turning point because you're in LA, you know. So I did, when I finished, it was 1 year back then. So I finished and I just stayed in LA. And started doing gigs, all kinds, you know, different kinds of gigs. And, you know, then I just met people and started doing gigs. And another big turning point was I met producer Pete Anderson, who, you know, was producing Dwight Yoakam and all those guys, you know. And he's a great guitar player also. And so I got, he was producing a band I was in with a guy named George Highfield on Warner Brothers Records and all kind of stuff like that. And so that was a very big, and then through Pete, I got to play on a lot of different stuff, like Dwight Yoakam and many other artists that Pete was producing, you know.
So you were like doing session and live gigs too?
Yeah, doing everything. I've always done everything. To make a living, like unless you're a rock star, if you're just a guy trying to make a living on guitar, you have to play nightclubs, you play weddings, I do sessions, you play original bands, you teach guitar a little bit, do anything, right? And but it's all good. It's all guitar. You always have my guitar in my hand, so I've always been like that, like, and done everything, you know.
And right from the start, you were interested in country music because country music is quite something in Canada, but it's not, you know, Nashville in Toronto, right?
Yeah, but believe it or not, country in Canada has always been really big. Okay. You know, and when I was coming up, like they even have French country songs like Quand le soleil dit bonjour aux montagnes. I speak French a little bit, but very badly. But anyway, my first couple of bands, they were more rock bands. But when I look back, it was like blues-based, like Allman Brothers, that kind of stuff. We did a lot. So now it would be considered like country rock, but back then it was, we just thought it was rock. So we rehearse all the time. So then the band breaks up, you know. So, oh man, But in our town, there was maybe 10 bars. They have country bands every night. They had 5, 6 nights every week. And the bands never rehearse. They just play, make money. So that's what I started doing. I just learned some songs. I didn't know who Merle Haggard was or anything, or Roy Nichols or James Burton. But I just listened. I start learning the songs. I go, oh, that's cool lick. Oh, that's cool lick. You know what I mean? So just out of necessity to make money, because I didn't want to have a job. I wanted to play guitar, you know.
Yeah.
But it's all good. It's all fun. It's a guitar, and then you grow to like it. But I was always wanting to be like Robin Ford or Larry Carlton. When I moved to LA, I said, oh man, Larry Carlton does seminar at GIT. Wow. So I moved to LA, and of course Larry Carlton does a seminar. Great, fantastic. And so, I bought a cheap car in LA, a $200 Datsun car.
Okay.
And I started doing, getting some gigs. And of course, my first gig is country gig, And so there's always a lot of country in LA, a lot of country. And still to this day, there's a lot of places to play country, a lot of original artists. And, so I started doing it. And since then I've been doing lots of country gigs in LA with all kinds of people, all styles of country. But I also do other gigs. Like I play in a blues band, the Icebreakers.
Okay.
And I play with 2 different swing bands, like I have my Gretsch 6100 and, Jumpin' Jaws is one band, and they Buzzcats. So that's fun. Not so much. They play big parties, you wear tuxedo, you play swing. And it's fun, right? And now I'll play some classic rock sometime, Over the years, I've played every kind of band except heavy metal. I've never been in heavy metal, but I've been in rock bands like Aerosmith, Toto kind of bands. I've always done everything, and it's all good. It's all fun. It's all guitar. It's all fun. I play jazz sometime. If you play at a wedding or something, you're making some good money, so you do it. So the first set, you play jazz, just maybe guitar and saxophone, right?
Yeah.
But after one set of jazz, they know I'm not a jazz guy. But I know I'm pretty good. I can play, the standards, and I know enough, Okay. But if you put me next to a real jazz guy,
Okay.
But it's okay.
Do you remember the first country lick you learned on guitar, and can you play it?
First country lick on guitar, probably this right here.
Pedal steel kind of lick.
Something like that, or it could have been, like you say, the working man blues, One of those, something like that. Because I learned all those early Merle tunes, Mama Tried, and all those tunes way back,
And for you, who are the best country guitar players you were listening at the time and now?
Well, at the time, once this is in the 70s when I started playing country. So of course, like Merle Haggard was the king of. So his guitar player Roy Nichols, but then I found out that James Burton had played a lot of the stuff, Okay. So I started listening to some James Burton, Roy Nichols, those are the 2 main guys. And then of course I got into Albert Lee. And because and then listening to Emmylou Harris Band, whoever's playing with Emmylou, James Burton, of course, and Albert Lee, and all those guys. And then, of course, now it's kind of like what's his face there, Brent Mason. Who took it all to a whole. He kind of combined everything. But also the old guy, like of course Chet Atkins. Like Chet is fan. The older I get, the more I appreciate Chet. You look at his old YouTube videos from the 50s. He's playing Sandman live and stuff, and it's just, wow. So clean, just perfect. Huh? Of course, Chet. And, old Merle Travis stuff, with his finger picking. And, Jimmy Bryant. All those guys are all great, right? So many good guys. Never ends.
And what about now? We know with the guys like Brad Paisley and Keith Urban, people like that.
Well, Keith Urban's more pop, but he's extremely good. I love Keith Urban. He's really good, and Brad Paisley's great, right? They're all great. You notice they all take it to a different level.
Yeah, sure.
Like Brad Paisley, it's rocked out. He uses it's a bit of a distortion sound, not totally.
So for you, it's not pure country, Brad Paisley?
No, that's country, but country changes all the time, See, a lot of people get really mad. Oh, it's not country anymore. But, if you listen to Chuck Berry, it's not close to Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin isn't like the new bands you hear now. Rock changes, right? Yeah. It's not, and country's the same way. And country, A lot of country right now is very, very pop, right?
Yeah.
It's drum machines and
But
synthesizers.
is that a good thing for you, or is that okay? Morphing to something that is not a real 100%, good old country music.
Yeah, to me, it's all good. It's all music.
Come on, this is a politically correct answer you are doing.
No. When Taylor Swift came out, everybody hated Taylor Swift, and I'm listening to her. She's like a young girl. I go, wow, she's friggin' really good, And now, see, I write lots of songs too. So I'm trying to, I always write and try to get people to cut my songs. I've had no hits, but a few people have cut some, So I listen to the new songs because I want to get a song cut,
Yeah.
And like of the new ones, some of them are really good and some are not so good. But country and all music has always been like that. Like I remember when I was in the 70s playing, people were bitching then, these new guys no good. They're not like Buck Owens. And then the 80s, Urban Cowboy sucks, And then the 90s, everybody sounds like Merle Haggard. Nobody's good. And then Shania Twain, Garth Brooks, it's just rock and roll. So no matter what stage, everybody was bitching.
Okay, yeah.
And so, and I really like to work with the young artists. I work with a lot of young artists. I produce tracks and I play guitar on their recordings, and they want to sound modern, right?
Okay.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So it's all good for me, just whatever works, and it's all just music. There's two kinds of music: good music and bad music, right? And that's it.
Yeah. I love to ask this kind of question because I remember a quote from Tom Petty, and someone asked him about what was his thought regarding modern country music, and he said, "Oh, do you mean the bad rock with a fiddle or something like that?" Which was a really nasty thing to say. But when it's true that when you listen sometimes to country music on the radio in the US, it's basically rock and roll with a couple of a banjo here and there, or mandolin and stuff like that, or a country Telecaster with a big slack back echo.
Yeah, but here's when you know it's country. Like if you listen to a real pop record, like if you listen to one of those girls there or whoever, famous pop, Justin Timberlake, and then you listen.
This is not country, right?
No, Justin, not country. No. But then you listen to pop country.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, that's country. But a lot of people never listen to the other stuff, so they don't know. Because what makes it country, it's the lyrics, and then the guys sing the way they always have a little country accent when they sing, and they always have guitar normally, and you'll hear a real pop like a Sam Hunt record, right? Totally pop country, but then you hear in the background, okay, country, I guess,
Yeah.
But to me, it's never mattered because I always just wanted to make a living playing guitar, and I like all kinds of music, and. So it's all in my friend John Willis. He's in Nashville. He's one of the top studio guys there. He's been one of the top guys since 1985, right? And he's gone through everything, right? And he still does sessions all the time where everybody else is kind of like Brent Mason. He's not on the top records anymore. He's still great, but he's not on the hits anymore. And, all these other guys that played there, they have maybe 10, 15 years. John is still going from 1985, and
because he was able to adapt.
He totally adapts all the time, and I always ask him, "What are you doing now? Like, what do you use, and what's your pedal?" And he says, like, he's got a very nice studio at home, and he says now the mistake a lot of guys made is they didn't turn over fast enough because John says he does 75-80% of his work at home now.
Okay.
People come and he produced a whole track with drum machine, or you can email it out and a drummer will put live drums and what you get back and you finish, or he'll just do guitar tracks. And he's not a flashy player, and nobody even knows who he is. But you see the records on his wall, it's like everybody, right? Shania Twain, George Strait, friggin' Kenny Chesney, Blake Shelton, everybody from 1985 till now. So he adapts. So I guess he's kind of my hero. And that's what, but really, if you like playing guitar, to me, it's like I'm not going to go listen to put on Sam Hunt record to listen for enjoyment, right? But if I'm playing it, it's fun, right? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like I used to play in disco band in the 78. Like I
You
never
had to. It was that or not working, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I would never listen to disco, but I used to listen to funk, Tower of Power, Average White Band, right? But I play disco. Hey, we're playing, make a few bucks, you know, play some money, and you're playing guitar. Life could be worse, right? So I've always approached it that way. So and I still do, but I do more country than anything these days, you know.
Who would be for you the trendy guitar player to listen to at the moment for people who want to get into country music, you know?
Okay,
People who are really pushing the envelope of country guitar.
well, you know, if you got a fair amount of technique, like if you can play pretty good right now, I would say go listen to the Brent Mason stuff from the 90s with Alan Jackson and Brooks and Dunn, and just start with that because that gives you a good taste. And then you can work backwards, and you know, and then listen to Albert Lee and Roy Nichols and James Burton, those guys, and Chet, and then the new guys like like Brad Paisley's really good, and there's a few other guys that are really. I'm not that hip on all the brand new young guys, but there's a few young guys coming out of Nashville. They're on the new records, and it's more rocked out, you know, but it's still good. Like if you listen to Jason Aldean records, like his guys, they're playing Les Paul and it's pentatonic, you know. And it's a bit distorted, but it sounds good, right? So, but I would start, if you can play, if you can't play good, don't start with Brent Mason, it's too hard. But if you can already play, you want to learn some country, listen to Alan Jackson, you know, with Brent Mason playing guitar, and then go backwards. That's probably, and do a little research and you'll find out who Brent Mason listened to, and then you go backward. That's the best way, I think, you know?
Okay. What about gear? What's your look at guitar? You are playing here one of the Telecaster I have here at the showroom. So what do you play?
I play, like I have 4 different tellies at home, you know. I had my favorite one stolen a couple of years ago. If anybody sees it, it's a Sunburst Japanese telly with a rosewood neck. Okay. Who knows where it turns up? Yeah. But it had Tom Anderson pickups on it. But I've got 4 different tellies. I've got a Mexican one that I love, and then I got a couple of American ones, and I got one of my ex-students from Korea. He's a very good guitar luthier. He made me one. Tae Kang is his name. But then I have, you know, a few Strats. I have a Tom Anderson Strat, which I love. And, you know, I have a 68 Les Paul, a 73 SG with a whammy. I got a Gretsch 6120 and, you know, Dan Electro. And I do lots of acoustic guitar stuff too, you know. Okay. So I got an old Gibson and a Collings, which I got in a trade with Alan Hines, I was telling you. And,
yeah, tell us about that. How did you get that?
Okay. Well, I had a parts Telecaster, like a Franken telly. It had a 1953 neck, and it had a 60-something body. Who knows? I don't know. And it was routed out, you know, so it's not worth anything collector because it's routed. But it was a 60 sign. It had a 59 pickup, you know, but the pickup, it didn't sound that good. There was something wrong with it. I don't know. And everything else was just new tuners, new pick guy, everything. And I didn't really like it because I didn't like the shape of the neck too much. And the guitar, to me, didn't sound that good. I used my newer ones, sounded better and more in tune. And so one day I told Alan Hines, hey, I have a telly. Yeah, I might sell it. Really, what do you got? And I told him, 53 neck. Alan Hines goes crazy, right? Because and he's very good. He puts guitars together all the time. He mix match, and he's very good. You play his guitars, and they're great. He puts them together from all different parts, you know. I didn't know that, yeah, that's like his hobby. He's very good. I give him some time. He sets up a couple of guitars for me. Okay. So we made a deal. He gave me, I won't say the exact amount, but it was good for me. I thought he gave me some cash plus a really nice Collings acoustic guitar, you know? So I'm looking, oh, crap. Basically, the only thing that was worth money was the neck, you know? So now I have that Collings acoustic, and I use it all the time. And
tell me again,
and I spend all the money in Paris. Okay.
Yeah, because wine is so expensive here. And tell me the story when you went to eBay to sell your original Clone Centaur for $50. Believe it or not.
Well, I had a Klon Centaur, and I used it, but the battery, it couldn't even use a whole night with the battery, you know. And I was only using a few pedals. You know, I'll have a delay plugged in and maybe a compressor, maybe 2 or 3 pedals on the floor, not on a board at that time. So I didn't have them all plugged in with a power source. So the Klon was too much of a pain in the ass to change so I never used it for years, right? Yeah. So then I'm going through all my stuff. I say, I'm going to sell some things. Oh, let me see these pedals here. Okay, here's the Klon. Oh, okay. So I hadn't done research. I didn't keep up. So I put it on eBay $50, not buy now, but bidding. Okay.
And it was, how long was that?
That was
A couple of
maybe,
years ago? Or?
no, that was maybe 8 years ago,
Okay.
6, 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe tops. So I looked the next day, it starts at 50. Next day I'm at 200. Oh, that's not bad. Okay. Next day, 400. Whoa. Then it's 1,000. I'm going, whoa. I had no idea. It ended up selling for around $1,300, which at the time was pretty good,
Yeah.
But to me, no pedal is worth $1,300 because I use the stuff, right? I don't collect to put. If I want to invest money, I'll put it in the bank and buy some Apple stock or something,
Still, it was a good surprise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, great surprise.
So what do you
that's
use
kinda
now
funny.
regarding pedal and amps?
Well, now I have a pedal board with all kind of stuff on it. I have an exotic distortion, has 2 different things on it, and I have a thing for distortion, a thing called the Brownie. It's kind of like a Marshall. And then I use another one too. It's a Boss, and it looks like a basement amp. It's like a tweed basement thing.
Yeah.
So I just use that if I want a little bit of crunch. Because sometimes I use a Fender Twin. I have an old 1964 Twin, but it's too clean if you're soft. So I'll put on that basement pedal, and it just a cool little breakup. And then I have, I use a little exotic compressor, small one. I like you can blend in the compression. And what else I got? I got an old TC Electronic chorus on there, and Phase 90, and a flashback delay. TC Electronic, has 3 presets. I use the one with 3 presets. And what else is on there? I don't know. Got some other. I got a Boss, what is it? Dimension C. It's an old pedal. Yeah, it's a great chord. That's a hidden. Nobody knows about those, right?
Yeah. Don't try to sell this one for $50. Huh?
No.
It's quite pricey now.
Yeah, I know. That's a great chorus pedal. And then recently, I didn't put them on my board yet. I got a little auto wah and a vibrato pedal.
Okay.
So I bought the vibrato. I asked my friend John Willis in Nashville. I said, "What are you using these days?" He says, "Man, I use this pedal on everything, a vibrato." It's just like, no, and sure, I listened to some records. Okay, there it is. It's kind of because it's not like a chorus. It's not like a delay. It's just a cool, put it subtle. It's a cool, if you're playing, like that song by what's his face, Thomas Ray, Well, that song, Die a Happy Man. Listen, there's a little vibrato pedal on there. And I'm going, oh, that's what that is, At first I thought it was tremolo, but it's not tremolo. It was vibrato. So, but there's a, so anyway, so I just got a vibrato pedal that I didn't put on yet.
Okay.
But, it's there.
Yeah.
And lately, and then I have, a lot of times, if I'm just going to do a quick gig at the club, I don't want to bring the pedal board. I have a Nova System, TC Electronics.
Yeah. Cool digital effect.
Yeah. But it's got 2 distortions, and they're analog distortions.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And so you can you can have many presets. You can have, a little bit more. You just got to go through the banks, so you can. And then it's got delays and chorus and everything you want, tremolo for a gig, So I use that if I'm just doing a little gig. But if I'm going to a recording session, something like that, I bring the pedal board. And lately too, especially when I'm recording at home, I just recently got a Kemper amp.
And you did some profiling of some famous amps, or you just used what's inside the box?
I bought some, the Michael Britt profiles and Top Jimmy, but also on the Kemper website, there's a bunch of freebie. Man, it's just endless, right? So I find that thing is it's great. If you're doing a little session, like if I'm doing a real session and it's full band, I'm going to bring amps and stuff like that. But just for recording at home at 2 a.m, and or somebody comes to your house and you have to do a guitar track, man, you just go through the Kemper and it's fantastic, right? Really, really good.
Okay. All right, Al, before I let you go, you have to tell me what are your current projects.
Okay, yeah, current stuff. If you want, I got a book out that just came out last year on Amazon, Country Guitar.
Excellent.
By Al Bonhomme. It's on the MI Press, and it's a good book because I not only licks, but I teach the concepts, right? Like I explain what a steel guitar lick is and then show you how to follow the chord, that kind of stuff. Instead of a lot of country guitars I find is Just like, here's a lick, here's a lick, here's a lick. This one, it's instruction, so there's some easy stuff, and then there's some hard stuff.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. And then I'm working on my own CD. That should be out next year with all...
With your composition and everything?
Yeah, compositions, some covers. You know, I'm going to do a Jerry Reed tune, The Claw, you know, go... I screwed it up right there, but anyway, do that tune and some other tunes. I got a good one going, the Tower of Power song called What Is Hip? I'm doing the country version, What Is Hick? With CK at the end. So a country version of What Is Hip. So you got to watch for that. And yeah, so the book, I'm working on the CD and some new I've just played on some stuff by artist Chris Bradley. She's got some releases, and another girl, Mandy Brook, just played a solo on her release. So you can check some of that stuff out. That's just pretty recent, you know.
Excellent.
All right.
I hope I will be able to review both your book and your CD then. You have to send me a copy now.
Yeah, I'll send you an autographed copy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Al, it was great to have you at the showroom. If people want to follow you, to see you playing in LA, where do they find you?
Well, I guess sometimes the gigs are on Facebook. I have a website, but I never update it. I guess I should, you know.
So Facebook is the way to reach you?
Sometimes, or they can just send me a message. If you come visit LA, just send me a Facebook message. Hey, where are you playing, you know? Okay. Because I'm always playing somewhere. Every week I play somewhere, 2 or 3 gigs every week, you know. And or you can come stop by MI. If anybody ever wants to visit MI, just send me a message. I can get you in. You can spend a day at MI just walking around. That's always fun for guitar players, you know, because you never know who's there. Yeah? It could be Carl Verheyen, could be Scott Henderson, could be Kirk Fletcher. Everybody's hanging out there all the time. You know, it's a fun place.
You know what? I might take you on this offer because I'm coming to January in LA again for the Winter NAMM. So be careful what you just said on the camera.
Yeah. Just come on by. We'll have a French day at MI.
Excellent.
All the French guys
power.
come. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Al. It was great to have you.
We'll get some baguettes and some wine, and we'll have the tour of MI.
Excellent.